20 years ago, Epic Flight Academy began training pilots, and to this day has thousands of graduates flying all over the world. A student's attitude plays a major part in how quickly a student completes the program. One of those students is Radnaa. Radnaa's determination and tenacity to become a pilot shows in his completion time. He completed his private pilot rating, instrument rating, commercial single and multi-engine ratings in a little over 9 months. Radnaa is from Mongolia and has parents who work in aviation themselves. But originally, Radnaa wasn't sure if he would take the same path as his parents.
I was exposed to it from a very young age. I always held an interest into it, but I never thought of myself becoming a pilot. It was just this, interest I always had.
Like a lot of students with an aspiration to become a pilot, Radnaa initially had the same fear many others had before entering the program.
I thought it'd be unattainable for me. It didn't really seem realistic because, not everyone, becomes a pilot. So it's either financially or I just thought I might not be cut out for it.
But as he finished high school, Radnaa soon had a run-in with a graduate of Epic Flight Academy that planted the seed of possibility into his mind.
I first heard about Epic Flight Academy from a pilot who studied here back in Mongolia. And he basically referred it to me, but even then I wasn't really hooked on into going to it because at that time I just finished high school and I wasn't really actually planning on becoming a pilot. So I was just looking for a college to go, and I just looked at a website. I was like, yeah, there's a flight school. It seems cool. I might take a look at it at another day sometime. Yeah.
Becoming a pilot can seem impossible to many. The thought of flying an aircraft is daunting, and our thoughts tend to keep us grounded, sticking to work we find more realistic. As time passed, that seed of possibility sprouted, and Radnaa's true desire to become a pilot finally showed itself.
I was working at a brokering company, and it was just main general office work. I used to work in an office cubicle from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and there was a point where I just thought it'd be a waste of a life if I, spend like 20 years living in this and then retiring.
As Radnaa saw more Mongolian pilots graduating from Epic Flight Academy and beginning their careers, he finally traded in his seat at his cubicle for a seat in one of Epic's aircraft to begin his flight training. Epic welcomes international students onto campus regularly. This process includes getting the proper visas in order and setting the timeline for how long international students will be in the United States training. Epic students require an M1 visa when they are accepted into the flight training program. This visa is specific for vocational training. Under the M1 visa, students are pursuing a full course of study while they are in the United States. After a proper background check, the student is approved and can begin training when they arrive within their allotted time in the United States. This portion of the enrollment process can be extremely intimidating for international students, but Epic works hard to ensure the process goes smoothly for its students.
When I first applied to the school, they were very helpful in getting my I-20 and visa and all that. And after I came here, I stayed in Epic housing. So even then, I didn't have to go through all of these legal documents and all that just to get housing and all that stuff.
Radnaa arrived at Epic in April of 2019.
When I first got here, I was welcomed by the housing manager at the airport, and it just all began from there. She took me here to Epic. Then I was welcomed by the admissions.
Students begin flight training with ground school. This is where students learn about the aircraft they will be flying, mathematics and physics that are used to make precise calculations before and during flight, operating our flight simulators, and are assigned a flight instructor. The approach is designed to emulate the same methods used by airlines when they hire their pilots.
My private pilot instructor was Eric Amborn. We really had a good chemistry between the two of us. So it was really easy for me to communicate with him and tell him what I want to do and what I can't do and all that. And because of him, my private pilot course went relatively smoothly.
He excelled through the courses, taking his first flight at the beginning of August and completing the private pilot course in November. Epic's maintenance team ensures students can fly every day through routine maintenance checks of Epic's entire fleet of aircraft.
In the beginning, I only flew about once per day, depending on the schedule of my instructor. In private, I usually spend around 3 to 4 hours, whereas the instrument, There was like a lot of information I had to learn in a very short span of time. So I spent like 6 to 8 hours at Epic studying, just, self-studying as much as I can. And in commercial, I'd say it was another like 4 hours in general, 4 to 5 hours. So of that 5 hours, 3 hours could be like activities with your instructors, and the other 2 hours would be self-studying.
This is the moment that can move you forward or keep you in place a bit longer. For a pilot to move on to the next course, they must pass a check ride. Every pilot goes through it, and everyone would probably agree that going through a check ride is the most intimidating part of the flight training process. These moments were key for Radnaa in his training and became two highlights of his aviation career.
As soon as I passed that check ride, I had a lot of disbelief because it was hard to say that I'm a pilot now, but it only took me like 4 months. And the second biggest point would probably be when I passed my commercial multi-check ride. That's the time where I always also like felt disbelief because I feel like I'm like actual commercial pilot now. So basically I can like take people on rides and get paid for it. So in both occasions I was stunned.
But Radnaa has some advice for students approaching their check ride.
The biggest thing I learned was students should not feel uncomfortable or like afraid of taking check rides because they want you to succeed.
Fear can keep you grounded, but Radnaa's career is just about to take off.
My next goal would be I would have to go back to my country, convert my license, and then I'm just gonna try to apply for as many pilot jobs back in my country and see where it takes me.
Radnaa hopes his story will help inspire the next generation of potential Epic pilots to take their first steps to begin their education at Epic.
If someone were to walk up to me in Mongolia and ask, hey, where did you learn how to fly? I want to become a pilot, where should I go? Then I would definitely recommend them Epic Flight Academy, and I would tell them how the program is, how the infrastructure here is, and I would definitely give them the big picture of how things are run here.
Radnaa's journey is one of the thousands that have come from Epic Flight Academy's classrooms. Every day, students at Epic are furthering themselves and reaching milestones that push them closer to flying for airlines around the world. Being a pilot is a unique career where one can see many different sights and cultures and unite the world through air travel. Epic's diversity in its student body contributes to this unity and passion for travel by consistently working to innovate our courses and make them more efficient for our students' continued success. Epic is proud of Radnaa's success and all of our graduates' success as we celebrate 20 years of continued excellence in aviation education and many more. Be sure to like our video and subscribe for more Epic content. And while you're here, check out some of our more recent videos and playlists.